Sean Spicer is on KFI today.
One of the things that made him unique, one of the things that made him authentic, one of the things that I think drew people in, whether or not you agreed with him on issues or not, was that he was different, he was authentic, and he shot from the hip. That's different. And then you can't say, well, I wish you would only do the following pieces of that. Then you're not being authentic. He is who he is, and he's not going to be the traditional politician, talking points, scripted kind of guy, for better or for worse. So the same qualities that people love in him, I think some people would like to say, okay, well, I only want certain parts of that.
All right, so you come from the communications director of the Republican National Committee, which is a pretty benign job. I mean, it's important, but
Thank you.
There aren't huge explosions. There aren't huge.
Okay.
Certainly not they are now. Did you have any idea when you became the press secretary that it was going to be that crazy?
Absolutely not. Look, I'd been at the RNC for 6 years. I've been doing this about 25 years. 18 years in the military. I've seen a lot of crises and high tempo events and activity. This was it every day. But so I knew it wasn't going to be the same or traditional. But I think knowing what the environment was going to look like, the intensity, absolutely not.
And let me go to a normal day. There was
Me too. I'd like to go to a normal day.
Did you? I'm assuming that you had talking points laid out as communications director, and everybody sits down in the press office and says, okay, this is what we're going to be doing today. This is our message today. And then the tweets come out. And you read them the same time we did. How, as the press secretary, do you deal with giving the message out to the world on behalf of the president when he's tweeting what a lot of people would say is just insane stuff?
Oh, I don't necessarily agree with that. But I think that again, I think you know what you're getting. He's a disruptor. He's different. He's authentic. It's not like it was some kind of surprise where you start going, hey, it's January 21st. How is this happening? This was what got him to where he was. And so to suggest that somehow he was going to be different the day after he was sworn in would not be true to himself. But to your point, I think it took a while to frankly recognize that we weren't running a traditional shop. And I think that's still happening a little.
Yeah, but you were caught in what the president said, and your job is to, of course, further the president's message to where there was just contradictions on literally right there on their face. My favorite one is certainly we have the number of people that were at the inauguration, and I understand that. But the one that I love the most about how you dealt with it was when President Obama was given the credit, some economic credit, and that was fake news. And then 2 days later, President Trump is given much the same credit for something that happened. That wasn't fake news. And when you were asked that, you just burst out laughing. I mean, there was nothing else to do. How many of those did you have to do when you had to say, okay, we have an apparent contradiction, and we have to deal with it?
Well, look, this gets back to what I think the nut of the job is, and I know some people don't necessarily agree with me, but I think the job of the spokesman is to speak on behalf of the principal of the organization when its leaders can't. That's the job. It's not to be an interpreter. It's not to say what you believe. And so my job was to stay in communication with the president and say, how do you want to articulate this news event, this issue, this policy, and get out there and do it to the best of my ability. Now, sometimes his thinking or the issue evolves based on the situation. But it wasn't my job to go out there and frankly to give him the best counsel about how to do that. To say, this is what's happening. Here's how I think we should say it or do it. But ultimately, it's the president's job or the leader of any organization's job to say, thank you for your advice and counsel. This is how I want it articulated, and go out there and say it. So there were some issues that were, could be more challenging.